Okay, I'm just going to put one teachery moment into this video because I think once you visualize it like this, it makes a lot of sense. So being that I've been a personal trainer for many years and now a clinical nutritionist and naturopath, looking back on my experience, I've had a lot of clients over the years that have had sore backs, sore joints, creaking bodies, exhaustion, fatigue, cognitive decline, etc. And you know, as a trainer, you do your best to help your clients move better, you help them mobilize their body, help them learn how to hinge, learn how to correctly position the shoulder blades and your spine. But I didn't realize the effect that dehydration was having on my clients' results and how much more quickly they could get better results when they got themselves hydrated, and myself included. You know, obviously it all starts with, you know, your own body, and then you see it in others. So I just want to explain the importance of this in terms of cellular health and certain things that you may be experiencing that may be due to, in part, dehydration. Now, I'm not even going to pretend for a second that I understand the science behind water going in and out of cells, because it is super complex. All of that science, I take my hat off to those scientists that go through that and work out all of those mechanisms with the hormones and the receptors and all of that stuff. I've obviously touched on that because I've learned physiology on a level with my degrees, but I'm just going to simplify it. I'm just going to explain it to you the way that I would explain it to anyone. So let's just look at a cell. This is a big cell. So we are just a collective of cells. That's what our bodies are made from. And inside those cells and around those cells is fluid, which is water. We're made primarily of water. In essence, if we get our cellular metabolism and incomings and outgoings balanced well and in homeostasis, that suggests that then the tissues would be healthy. And if the tissues are healthy, our organs will be healthy. If our organs are healthy, we'll have a healthy body and a healthy life. So we start and we go all the way back to cellular metabolism. So everything in your body is made of cells, pretty much, except for the fluid surrounding the cells, which is all out here around, which is called the lymphatic fluid. So when we get dehydrated, cells start to get a little bit worried because they need plenty of water in here to do their functions. You can imagine, and if you can ever imagine being in the bathtub too long and your fingers start to go a little bit wrinkly, then when you start to get dehydrated, the cells start to get a bit wrinkly like this. And the channels that are in the membrane of the cell then get compromised. And you can see that it would be much more difficult for water to be flowing in and out of that structure than if it were already hydrated. Now, there's a whole lot of science behind it. I'm not going to go into that because really that doesn't matter to get my point across. My point is this: if the body is low on fluid, the cells are shriveling a little bit, and we've got this lymphatic fluid out here that's drying up essentially. It's got to be getting drier because there's less water involved. Well, we've got a whole lot of stuff in this lymphatic fluid that's trying to be eliminated out of the system. That's the purpose of the lymphatic system, is to collect all the poop from the cell and all the cellular debris and all of the infections and parasites and all the heavy metal toxins and fatty stuff and get rid of it. But in order to get rid of it, it has to be able to move. If it's drying up, guess what? It's not going to move, it's going to get harder. All of this excess stuff around the cells starts to get harder and harder and harder. And that then leads to inflammation and swelling and pain. So you can see, if you're dehydrated and all of this accumulation out here is building up, getting harder and harder and drier, that's what leads to the creaking joints. That's what leads to these, this poor immune health. That's what leads to this tightness in the body, this crunchiness of the body. I know when I was getting healthy and trying to reteach myself how to walk many years ago with all my pain, this is what was going on for me. I had all of this build up, and it was building up in my neck and my spine. I couldn't turn my head without pain. I couldn't set my shoulders properly because there was too much gunk in the way. And I couldn't activate my muscles properly and engage my nervous system in a way that was functional because there was simply no water there to do it. And I was full of this toxicity, and this is what I've been clearing out of my body for many years and continue to do to this day, and will continue for the rest of my life. And this is what I really try to help people understand, is that this accumulation over many, many years leads to these issues, or it can contribute in great part to a lot of these issues that people see. And simply by doing the water correctly, you can get some wonderful relief from this buildup of the debris, the inflammation, the toxicity, the swelling, the pain, and you can really help yourself out with all of these things. So another way that you can possibly think about this is a lot of women want to get rid of cellulite and all of this accumulation through this area of the body, through the upper arm. All of that excess there is actually caused by this lymphatic buildup. The lymphatic system's not able to drain effectively because there's no water. You can imagine a plate that you've used that's got all sorts of oils and food on it. If you just left that sit there and then you kept eating on it day after day and all the oil that would accumulate, imagine a dirty frying machine that has all this oil accumulation. It starts to go brown and it never gets cleaned. That's what's happening in your body. So of course there's going to be dryness, of course there's going to be inflammation if we don't start clearing it out. So if you're looking to improve your skin health, you're looking to improve cellulite, you're looking to improve that the sagging under the arms or anywhere over the skin, you're wanting to improve the quality and the tone of the skin or just generally of the body, this is going to be key for you as well as the hydration aspect. Another thing that I just wanted to draw to your attention is blood pressure. So if someone tells me they've got high blood pressure, the first question I ask them is how much water they're drinking, and often the answer is I don't know, or they say they don't like water, or some answer that indicates to me that they are not drinking enough water. So simply put, if you've got a blood vessel, the blood's flowing through the vessel here, blood is made, it's a liquid, so it needs water. If there's less liquid, then there's going to be liquid coming out of that blood, and the blood is going to get thicker and thicker and thicker. So there's going to be less blood volume, which means that these vessels are going to have to tighten up so that the pressure that's going out through to all the different parts of the body stays strong so that the blood can actually get to all of these locations. If the pressure doesn't stay neutralized, then that blood is going to be pushing. Heart's going to have to push so hard to get blood out to all these different areas of the body because there's just not that much volume. You can imagine if you're trying to put sticky syrup through a hose as opposed to fresh running water. What's going to come out more easily? What's going to require more force from the pump to get that fluid through? So that's what causes, in part, big part of it is dehydration, the high blood pressure. If we have more water, then the vessels can relax a little bit and the heart doesn't need to pump so hard to get that water, the blood, out to every other area of the body. So if you have had any of those symptoms that I mentioned, if you're crunched over, if you're hunching, if you've got tightness in your joints, if you're stiff, if you can't move well, if you've got high blood pressure, dry eyes, plantar fasciitis, urinary tract issues, regular urinary tract infections, if you've got fatigue, cognitive dysfunction, if you've got anxiety, depression, all of these things can be linked back in some way, in part, due to a lack of water. So I hope that that really clears it up for you. I hope that explains a lot more for you about how these systems work. I know that was very basic, and I'm not claiming to be a scientist by any stretch. I've been lucky enough to be taught by a scientist, but she's been so gracious enough to explain it to me in lay terms. So I just wanted to relay that to you so that you can start to understand that it's not simply a matter of, oh, let's just cut my calories and increase my exercise, well, that's one solution. And sure, that might work for while you want to be in a calorie deficit, but I don't want to be in a calorie deficit my whole life. I like eating food and I like having energy and having an abundance of it. So if you do it this way, you drink water, that's one part of the puzzle to helping you have more energy, helping you resolve these chronic complaints, and being able to train effectively and to get wonderful results. Okay, the next thing. Clear, pure water is not mineral water, tonic water, soda water, or any other kind of water. It is plain, pure water. That's it. There is no other animal on the planet that wants to drink soda water, that wants to drink tonic water. These things are not natural to the body. They are artificially produced in a factory, and they're not actually designed to be in the body. In fact, some of these beverages are quite acidic and can further contribute to more dehydration. So if you have been having lots of soda water and mineral water and those kind of sparkling beverages, what I would suggest is very gradually phasing them out. Please avoid getting rid of it all at once, because this can also lead to other problems. If the body's become accustomed to anything like this, I always recommend going a little bit slower and just tapering it off slowly and then building up with the other water instead. Of course, if you want to occasionally have a soda water here and there, that's okay, but just keep it to a minimal and keep it as a treat rather than something that you have all the time, every single day in mass quantities. You'll feel a lot better for it, and you'll get better hydration in your cells as you start to gradually increase the pure, clear, fresh water that is what we all actually need. Now, filtering water. We're still going. It's really critical that you filter your water. I started filtering my water about 8 years ago, and I can no longer drink the tap water anymore. I won't. I just won't do it, because I can actually now taste what is in it, and it tastes awful. So I'm not surprised by the amount of people that don't like the taste of water because of how toxic it has now become. Now, of course, we want to think that the powers that be and the people that manage our water are doing the best that they can with management of the water supply. The unfortunate truth of the matter is that even on Channel 9 News recently, they have reported that there have been cancer-causing chemicals found in the water supply in Queensland, in certain parts of Queensland. Now, I don't know the details of that, but it was reported on the news. So, and Channel 9, which is quite surprising. So there are a range of chemicals that can be found in our drinking water. Two of the main chemicals in the drinking water are chlorine and fluoride. And there has been in the past some controversy around these chemicals, especially the fluoride, with relation to dental health. My conclusion about all of this is that I would still prefer to take the fluoride out, because it has been also found to be a neurotoxin, which means it can have an effect, a negative effect on the nervous system and can cause inflammation. It can also compete for binding sites in the thyroid gland and create versions of our thyroid hormones that don't work correctly, which, if you're looking to do health and weight loss, is going to be detrimental to that process, especially if you're wanting to increase cellular metabolism. So my suggestion would be to find a filter that removes general debris and both chlorine and fluoride. Both of those chemicals have to go. So I understand that everyone is at their own level when it comes to what they're able to accomplish with their budget. So what I suggest is, first of all, the cheapest option is to go down and buy a filtered jug from the shops. You can get them from health food shops, or you can buy them online. If you can get one that removes both the chlorine and fluoride, then fantastic. I haven't actually seen many of the jug filters that remove both of those, but it's certainly a very good step in the right direction to start with. And of course, make sure that you regularly change the filter on that so that you're not continuously drinking all the buildup that comes through the filter there as well. The next step would be to get something like a reverse osmosis on the counter option, which is around the $250 mark. Simply put, you just buy it online and you can set it up on the counter. So if you're renting, then this is a great option. The only challenge with this is that it does filter the water quite slowly. So you're often waiting around times for the water to fill up a jug or fill up a cup. So it is a good option. I used that option for quite a few years. It just takes a little bit longer, but it is a nice affordable option if you're wanting to get those other chemicals out of the water. The next level up is to invest in an under-the-counter option. Obviously, you'd want to be the owner of your home. Possibly, you might want to do it if you're renting. It's just then going to be installed for the owners. And getting a system that removes the chlorine and fluoride and other sediment. I don't recommend putting minerals back into the water. Simply put, I think there's an argument to be made that we're all over-mineralized a little bit. I just believe that the pure clean water in its pure state is the best, and we don't want to go messing around with adding things back in that might not be necessary for our bodies. Just keep it simple and just make it pure and clean, and then things will reveal themselves about your mineral balance as time progresses. But start there, and you don't need to add the minerals or the salts back into the water. You may then want to supercharge your water, which I do. I've got a grander water system, and what that device does is it helps to restructure the water. So this is a whole other level of water. What we know now is that water carries energy and information, and it can change its structure based on very, very small particles that can, and energy in general and frequencies that change the nature and the structure of that water. So a grander water system, I mean, I don't know the complexities around it. It's for the scientists to explain. But essentially, it restructures the water so that the water is in its purest form and it will enter the cell as easily as possible. Basically, think about it, if the water is not structured correctly and it's wonky, it's going to have difficulty getting in through the structure, the aquaporon, or the channel that it needs to go through if it's wonky. If it's straight, it'll slip straight through. So that's what that part of the system does. This is sort of like the Rolls-Royce of water filtration and cleansing. And I'll certainly be able to link anyone who's in Queensland to that, or anyone out there that's wanting to do a system like that. I believe there are a range of different systems out there that do a similar thing. They've just got slightly different technology and will be under a different name. So here is a list of some of the other chemicals that may be found in water. A lot of these chemicals can have serious health effects. And of course, you know, if you drink some tap water one day, it's not necessarily going to kill you. It's just the accumulation of these chemicals and toxins over a very long period of time, every single day in that kind of quantity, can certainly cause issues as it starts to build up over time. So I do suggest it's just a sort of risk reduction. Basically, it's reducing the risk of you having these health issues associated with some of these chemicals. And I've certainly found that I much prefer the taste of water and enjoy drinking water now. And so I hope that you do too.
Here's a clean filter. That is a used filter. Brand new, used. You can't tell me that it's not pulling a lot of stuff out of that water. If you're not filtering your water, that's what you're drinking. That's what's going into you. So, I don't know, you be the judge.
There are all sorts of other water technologies available now that alkalinize the water or change the water in some way. I don't recommend any of these because I've heard stories that when you drink alkaline water, it can actually affect the balance of acids and bases in the system, such that it can affect the production of hydrochloric acid and digestive juices. Some people might be fine with it. That's okay. If you like it, go for it. It's just not what I suggest or recommend. I just think that plain, pure, clean water that's been filtered at room temperature is the best option for most people, and certainly reduces the risk of any imbalance with the system happening. I've also heard that it can make people quite nauseous and unwell depending on their system. So that's why I make that suggestion. Ultimately, if you want to try the alkaline water, go ahead and try it. It's just something that I don't feel is necessary. Some people swear by it. I personally have never needed it. I've never really had the need to drink it. And it just makes more sense to me that most of the other creatures on the planet are just drinking normal water where they can. So I would just stick to as neutral as possible. So here's a little bit more information about how I achieve this. So this bag is wonderful. It's a little cooler bag. You can see inside, it's got a little cooler, and I put some ice blocks in there that I keep in the freezer. I just put a little towel down just to keep it nice and dry. And when I go to work, I put my lunch in here with the ice blocks, and I'll also fill up 2 or 3 water bottles, and I usually use glass. That's probably for another video. And I fill it up with my Granda water and put it into this bag. And this is how I keep myself hydrated when I'm out of the house. I don't fill up my water bottle at any of the water stations anywhere outside the house, just because I've just found that I'm happy to do this. This is something I'm happy to commit to for my health. I know that not everyone's going to do that. So I realise that this is probably another level of commitment. It's just when, I guess my personal experience, I've been quite unwell and I don't want to ever compromise that again. And I want to achieve the highest level of health that I can. And this is the level that I will take it to. I've started to slowly convince my husband to do the same. So he now takes at least a bottle or 2 out with us in the car. He's not as committed as I am, but certainly he's much better and will at least drink more water regularly. I think drinking out of a filter is still better than drinking plain tap water. So if you can get filtered water from a fountain, then that's a better option. Bottled water is touch and go depending on what brand you buy. It's better once again than the tap water, but I still find that this Granda water is by far the most superior, is the superior quality of water. I just love it so much that I don't want to compromise anymore. But as I said, I realise this is quite a length. This is quite a commitment level. It's just I've been doing this for a long time, and this is just now what I prefer. But I wanted to share it so that you could see the level that I go to and what I would recommend. Certainly for if you've been very, very unwell and you're really wanting to clear and clean out the body, this would be a good strategy. You can just get something like this and take it with you. It's super handy. I quite like the look of this bag too. I think it's quite an attractive looking bag. I get lots of compliments on it as well. And it's nice to take to a picnic or wherever you're going. You can even just keep it in the car if you're going out for dinner, whip out there, grab your water and take it in. As I tend to do, and then I'll just pour myself a glass of water when I'm at the table. So that's just a strategy that I would use. I'm very committed to my water. But anyway, I hope that that's been helpful for you. I hope that that really clears up any questions that you have about water and how to drink water. And try it yourself, give it a go. Give this method a little bit more of a try. So doing the 4 lots of 500 mils, one on rising, and then 20 to 30 minutes before each main meal you drink, you prepare your food, you eat, and that's the process. As you get yourself more hydrated, your thirst signals might become stronger, and you'll also be able to differentiate between thirst and hunger. That is one of the telltale signs that you may be dehydrated, is that that constant hunger not being responded to correctly with water. And a lot of times people are just a little bit thirsty because they haven't had enough water, and they're thinking that they're hungry, and then they go and overeat. So once again, another tip for weight loss. And as for the filtration, I really do believe that it's better for our health to have clear, pure water. So, you know, do your own research, find out for yourself if that's something that you want to invest in, and give it a go, and write down in the comments if you've already had this experience or you'd like to report anything back about it. Certainly my clients will all be watching this video, and I hope that you have wonderful success and wonderful results doing this strategy.